The first time his lips pressed against mine, my body burned with a fire I had not felt in years. My back was against the cold wall of a hotel hallway, his hands exploring me with a hunger that made me dizzy. My pulse pounded in my ears, my skin trembled, and the taste of danger mixed with his kiss in a way that was intoxicating. My wedding ring pressed painfully against my finger as if it was reminding me of the vow I was shattering, but I ignored it. The thrill was too much. The guilt was too far away. I wanted excitement, and in that moment, I was ready to drown in it. But I never expected that the same fire that excited me would eventually expose me, leaving me caught, humiliated, and broken. Before I dive into the full story, I want to pause here. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has been subscribing to this channel. Your support means everything to me. To all my new viewers and my returning viewers who are yet to hit that subscribe button, I cannot wait for you to do so because it truly serves as the fuel and energy that keeps powering this channel forward. Please do not forget to engage with me in the comments and share your thoughts after hearing this story. I really want to know what you think. Now, let me take you deep into my journey of betrayal. My name is Claire. I am a white American woman living in the suburbs of Illinois. On the outside, my life looked picture perfect. I was married to Michael, a dependable man who worked hard as an accountant. He was the kind of husband people envied, steady, loyal, and calm. We lived in a 2-story home in a quiet neighborhood with trimmed lawns and friendly neighbors who waved when we drove by. To everyone else, we looked like the kind of couple who had it all together. But behind closed doors, I was restless. Michael was safe, but he was predictable. Our routines were carved into stone. We woke up at the same time every day, ate breakfast at the same table, talked about bills, weather, and his office work. Our intimacy had become a silent duty, mechanical and lacking the passion that once made me tremble. I loved him in a way, but I was suffocating. That was when I met Ryan. Ryan was everything Michael was not. He was bold, flirtatious, and unafraid to make me blush. I met him at the gym, where his sweat-slicked muscles and confident smile were impossible to ignore. At first, I convinced myself it was harmless. He would spot me during weightlifting, make playful remarks about my form, and linger a little too close when he adjusted the equipment for me. I felt my cheeks heat under his gaze, but I brushed it off as friendly attention. The truth is, I enjoyed it. One evening, when Michael was working late again, Ryan cornered me near the water fountain. His voice was low, his eyes burning into mine as he said, "You look like a woman who deserves more than what she is getting." My heart skipped, and I laughed nervously, but the words lodged themselves deep inside me. That night, lying next to Michael in our bed, I could still hear Ryan's voice echoing in my mind. Our flirtation escalated quickly. Text messages began, innocent at first, but soon dripping with suggestions and longing. I told myself I could control it. I told myself I would never cross the line. But with each message, each stolen glance, the line blurred until it disappeared completely. The night it finally happened was a Friday. Michael had gone on a weekend business trip, and Ryan knew. He picked me up from my driveway, his truck humming under the dark sky. I remember the guilt already clawing at me as I stepped into his passenger seat, but I pushed it down with the excitement coursing through me. We drove out of town, past the familiar streets, until the glowing lights of a hotel sign came into view. The moment the door closed behind us, I felt the weight of what I was doing, but I did not stop. His hands were already on me, his lips already silencing my thoughts. It was reckless, raw, and intoxicating. I was no longer the dependable wife of Michael. I was someone else, someone daring, alive, and completely consumed by forbidden passion. Afterwards, as I lay tangled in the sheets, reality began to seep in. My phone buzzed with a message from Michael, "Good night, love. I miss you already." My chest tightened as I stared at the screen, Ryan's arm heavy around my waist. The betrayal had begun, and there was no turning back. In the days that followed, I lived a double life. In the morning, I was Michael's wife, smiling and preparing breakfast. In the afternoons, I was Ryan's secret, slipping away for rushed embraces and whispered promises. Each moment with Ryan felt like fire licking at my skin, dangerous and thrilling. Each night with Michael felt colder, filled with the suffocating weight of lies. I told myself I was only borrowing excitement, that no one would ever know. But deep inside, I knew secrets have a way of crawling into the light. And when they do, they burn everything in their path. Every secret has a weight, and mine grew heavier with each passing day. At first, the thrill of sneaking around filled me with a dangerous kind of joy, but soon, the excitement began to twist into anxiety. Every buzz of my phone made me panic. Every glance from Michael made me wonder if he could see the guilt dripping off me like sweat. Ryan was addictive. He sent me messages that made my pulse quicken, asking for photos, demanding I sneak out more often, and reminding me that he wanted more than stolen hours. He was relentless, and I was too weak to pull away. My body craved him, but my mind screamed at me every night as I lay beside my husband. Michael was not a fool. He noticed the changes. "Claire, you have been distracted lately," he said one evening as we sat at the dinner table. His fork clinked against the plate, his eyes narrowing slightly as he studied me. "You are always on your phone. You do not even laugh at my jokes anymore." I forced a smile, brushing it off. "I am just tired. Work has been stressful." But the truth was, I had never been more alive. The problem was, I was living two lives, and the cracks were beginning to show. Ryan's appetite grew dangerous. Meeting at the gym was no longer enough. He wanted me in his truck late at night. He wanted hotel rooms. He wanted risks that made my stomach knot with fear. One afternoon, he even suggested coming to my house when Michael was at work. "Are you crazy?" I hissed over the phone, pacing my kitchen. "What if someone sees you?" "That is the thrill, Claire," he replied, his voice low and commanding. "You wanted excitement. Do not back out now." And the worst part? His words made me shiver with desire. I found myself lying more than I ever thought possible. I invented errands, late work shifts, and girls' nights out. Every lie I told Michael carved a deeper wound into my marriage, yet I told myself he would never find out. I convinced myself I was in control. But I was wrong. The first real scare came one Saturday afternoon. I had told Michael I was going shopping with a friend, but instead, I met Ryan at a hotel downtown. We barely made it past the door before we were tangled in each other, desperate and breathless. Hours later, as I adjusted my clothes in the bathroom mirror, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Michael, "At the mall now." "Where are you?" My heart stopped. I quickly typed back, "At another store. Be home soon." My hands trembled as I pressed send, my reflection staring back at me with wide, panicked eyes. For the first time, I realized how close I was to being caught. When I returned home, Michael studied me carefully. His eyes lingered on the smudge of lipstick I had forgotten to wipe completely, the faint scent of cologne that was not his. He did not say anything, but I could feel his suspicion rising like a storm cloud. That night, I lay awake while he slept beside me. His arm was draped across my waist, the same way Ryan's had been only hours earlier. The contrast made me sick. I loved the safety of Michael's touch, but I was addicted to the danger of Ryan's. I felt torn in two, and I knew it was only a matter of time before something snapped. The following week, Ryan pushed me even further. He wanted me to skip a family dinner with Michael's parents so we could spend the evening together. "He will survive one night without you," Ryan said with a laugh. "You are mine tonight." I knew it was wrong. I knew I was pushing Michael further away, but I agreed. That evening, while Michael drove alone to his parents' house, I was in Ryan's arms again. But as his hands traced my body, a sharp guilt stabbed through me. I thought about Michael sitting at that dinner table, explaining my absence, covering for me with a smile that hid confusion and hurt. And for the first time, the thrill began to sour. Still, I could not stop. I was too deep, too consumed, too reckless. My lies grew bolder, my guilt grew sharper, and Michael's suspicion grew stronger. He began asking questions about my phone, my friends, my sudden errands. His eyes lingered on me with a quiet intensity that made my stomach twist. One evening, he reached for my phone on the couch, saying, "I just need to check the time." My heart lurched as I snatched it before he could unlock it. His eyes met mine. "What are you hiding, Claire?" I forced a laugh, brushing it off as paranoia, but I could see it in his face. He no longer trusted me. Ryan, on the other hand, became possessive. He wanted me to choose, to give him more of myself. His texts became more demanding, more aggressive. It was no longer just an affair, it was a dangerous entanglement spiraling out of control. I had built a fire, and now it was raging out of my control. And soon, it would consume me completely. Secrets are like shadows. No matter how carefully you try to hide them, eventually they stretch too far to remain unseen. Mine was about to catch me. It happened on a Thursday evening, one of those ordinary days that suddenly changes your entire life. Michael told me he would be working late. The moment he left the house, Ryan's message lit up my phone: "Hotel, 20 minutes. I want you now." I did not hesitate. My pulse raced as I slipped into a dress, painted my lips red, and hurried out the door. The guilt gnawed at me, but the thrill was louder. For the next few hours, I was not a wife, I was not a mother, I was not responsible. I was reckless, wild, alive. Ryan's hands were on me the moment I entered the hotel room. Clothes hit the floor, bodies tangled, whispers turned into breathless moans. I drowned in him, chasing the fire I thought I needed to feel whole. But the fire burned too bright. Hours later, as I stood in the dim hotel bathroom fixing my makeup, I heard the sound of a phone buzzing. I stepped out, expecting it to be mine. Instead, it was Ryan's. He glanced at the screen and froze. Then his eyes darted to me. "It is Michael," he muttered. My stomach dropped. "What? How would he call you?" Ryan's lips twisted into a smirk that made my blood run cold. Maybe because he already knows. Maybe because he asked me to keep this up just long enough to see how far you would go. The room spun. My knees nearly buckled. "What are you talking about?" But before he could answer, the hotel door swung open. Michael stood there. The world stopped. He did not scream. He did not cry. He just looked at me, his wife, disheveled in a dress half undone, standing next to a man who was not him. His face was carved with a pain I had never seen before, raw and unfiltered. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. There was nothing left to defend. Nothing left to lie about. Michael's voice was calm, too calm. "I followed you. I wanted the truth. Now I have it." The silence that followed crushed me. Ryan shifted awkwardly, but Michael never looked at him. His eyes stayed locked on mine, steady and broken all at once. He turned and walked out. I ran after him, my heels clattering against the floor, my hands reaching for him. "Michael, please. I made a mistake, He stopped and spun around, his face inches from mine. His voice was steel. "You wanted excitement, Claire. You got it. Now you can live with it." And then he walked away. That was the last night I slept in the same bed as my husband. The fallout was brutal. Michael moved out within days, taking the silence of our home with him. Friends who once admired us turned their eyes with judgment. Whispers followed me at the gym, at the store, everywhere. The shame was suffocating. Ryan? He vanished as quickly as he had appeared. The man who promised me thrills and passion was gone the moment reality hit. He did not answer my calls, did not reply to my messages. I had gambled everything, and I lost both men in one blow. The worst part was the nights. Lying alone in a bed that once held warmth, staring at the ceiling, replaying that moment over and over, Michael's eyes when he saw me. They haunt me still. They were not filled with anger, but with something far worse. Disappointment. Betrayal. The look of a man whose heart had been shattered by the person he trusted most. I wanted excitement. I got caught. And in the end, I lost the man who had truly loved me. There is no forgiveness in this story. No happy ending. Just silence, separation, and the bitter taste of regret. Because some choices cannot be undone.